Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Here's my resume.
Great, let's begin. Hi, thank you for coming for an interview today. My name is Pablo Torres, but everyone calls me Coach T. As you know, you are interviewing for the sports psychologist position. A little bit about the team before we get started. I have been the head coach of the Temple Dragons since 2010. I played baseball mainly throughout my entire academic career. I started as a graduate assistant and worked my way up to become a head coach. The Temple Dragons, as you know, is a Division II baseball team. We had a lot of recent success the past couple of years. Most of the credit because of a great sports psychologist. Unfortunately, a great sports psychologist decided to take some time off to do some research. We as a team are looking for someone to continue the great work in our sports psychologist division, raise some new and better ideas. This team is required to see sports psychologists at least once a week, and we also have some group sessions at least once a week as well. So enough about us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, as you know, my name is Marquise, and thank you for having me today. I just recently received my doctorate degree in sports and exercise psychology. During my years as an undergraduate, I studied psychology with a minor in sport administration. I was also on the baseball team throughout my college career, and while on the baseball team, I took full advantage of seeing my sports psychologist and went to every session. The result of that helped me better my performance. Talking to my sports psychologist helped me much more than I thought it would. My ultimate goal, of course, is to become an educational sports psychologist. While receiving my undergraduate degree, I interned for a sports psychologist where I was able to learn a lot of critical skills and techniques to help a team better their performance. As for when I was studying for my doctorate degree, I was a graduate sports psychologist assistant for our baseball team. I have many skills under my belt to help this team to continue their success and to help me gain many more experience.
That's great. Sounds like you have a lot of experience coming into this. Today I will be asking you very critical questions about your philosophy, ethical code, and of course the mental skills you use to help us better perform. So you play baseball. That is good because the sports psychologists should know the sports they're getting into. We play baseball. When playing baseball, you need very good performance skills. However, we will get to that shortly. So Marquise, tell me a little bit about your philosophy.
Alright. Since I want to be an educational sports psychologist, my philosophy takes the educational approach.
Great.
So in order to educate, I would provide information and skills on how to use that information I will provide to the team, the coaches, and of course the rest of the staff of the team. When I say information, I will give the players insights on how to control their anger, how to calm themselves down, and mainly how to stay relaxed in critical situations such as bases loaded, 2 outs, or when a pitcher is in for a closer who's trying to close the game, or when a pitcher is in a pitching jam. The information could come from me or articles I will provide in my office. I will always keep some type of reading that will give solutions on many ways to how to stay a successful athlete. After that, I will help the athletes learn the skills and ways to maintain them. Every time an athlete leaves my office, they will have learned something new. It might be insight about themselves or new ways of how to perform. I would consider myself as a proactive. Like I stated before, I will help the team. I will be able to talk to the team, suggest plans for the team, and help make the team better by making better decisions. I always like the quote that said, "One must learn about themselves before improving one's ability."
I like what you said there at the end. You're absolutely correct about that. Every athlete should be able to learn something new when they're seeing their sports psychologist. Okay, so good moral ethics is very important to come to a position like this one. As a sports psychologist, you must always stay true and honest to your patient. Every sports psychologist has to follow an ethical code just like the coaches. So, Marquise, tell me, how would you cite your ethical code?
Hmm, that's a good question. I will always respect the ethical code for sports psychologists. First, I'm going to talk about integrity. Integrity is very important when dealing with athletes. I will always stay honest and true. Like everyone says, honesty is the best policy. I will always stay true to my work and never break any of my promises to the athletes. I will always show respect to all the athletes, coaches, and staff that I'm working with. I will always do what I say, and I will always acknowledge when I am wrong and always attempt to fix my mistakes.
That sounds wonderful. Integrity is very good to have, especially in the workforce. What else do you have in mind that can help us?
Well, I guess I will always respect the rights, the dignity, and worth to others. Everyone will be treated like they should, and I will never talk down to anyone. Confidentiality is always very important. As a sports psychologist, as in myself, I will never discuss or disclose any information about any of my patients, not even to you, coach.
Understandable.
I will always be concerned for the welfare of my patients. I will never mislead any of my patients, and like I said before, I will always stick to my 100% honest policy. I will always try to recognize the problem or the struggles that the team is dealing with, and I will always try to find a solution in a responsible manner.
That sounds great. With you saying that, how would you treat or diagnose a patient?
When you say diagnose, do you mean medical?
Medical.
Well, since I'm not a clinical psychologist,
Okay.
I will not be able to diagnose any of the players with medical issues.
Mm-hmm.
It is my ethical code to realize the problem and to help them find the best clinical psychologist that I know.
Great. That's a very good answer. Give me a few minutes while I try to finish writing this down.
No problem, sir. Take your time.
So, as you know, I used to play baseball when I was in school just as well. And I found that my sports psychologist really helped me out through a lot. Especially being the cleanup guy and coming out in big situations. You always you always try to strive to be the best that you can and not get too nervous in big situations. So that's a very good idea. Okay, sorry about that again. Now, many of his players enjoy their one-on-one with their previous sports psychologists. They always talked about their mental skills, trainings, and how it affected them on and off the field. First, when you play baseball, what mental skills did you use? After that, tell me the mental skills you would use to help our players perform better.
That was also a good question. Well, to finish what you were just telling me about being a cleanup guy, when I played baseball, I was the leadoff hitter.
Great.
So me being on base always set up most of the team's success.
Yes.
Every time I stepped up to the plate, I always had to relax myself
Mm-hmm.
I always had to concentrate, and I had to make sure my anxiety wasn't up at all. My sports psychologist helped me gain the mental skills to make sure that none of that will affect me. But when the mental skills my sports psychologist made me practice was, like I said, how to manage my anxiety, my emotions, and how to maintain concentration. But my mental skills, I believe there are 9 mental skills that contribute to a successful sport.
Okay.
These skills can work with any athlete of all ages,
Mm-hmm.
and it can help them learn and sharpen their skills.
Great.
While teaching these mental skills, I like to use them in a performance pyramid. The performance pyramid helped me explain and help the players that I'm explaining it to realize what level of skills they had accomplished. So I set them up as in 3 levels. Level 1, of course, is the basic skills.
Mm-hmm.
Level 2 is the preparatorial skills.
Okay.
And level 3 is the performance skills.
Great. I like the way that it sounded. Can you explain all these skills in greater detail for me?
Of course. Well, I'm going to start with the level 1, basic skills.
Okay.
You learn on the basic skills, you learn how to improve your attitude,
Mm-hmm.
your motivation,
Yes.
your goals, and your people skills.
That's great.
With attitude, the players will learn how to develop a skill to respect their sport,
Mm-hmm.
other participants that they're playing against, or their teammates, their coaches, of course,
Yes.
and the officials, and of course, themselves. What I mean about that is you should never enter a ball game or leave a ball game with a negative attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It'll always affect your performance, and usually it will lead up to something else negative. So my skills will make sure that all the players come in a positive attitude, and even if we lose the game, they will leave with a positive attitude. However, the motivation skills that I will help develop with the players will help the players persist through difficult tasks and difficulties. So, say if one of the players lost a loved one,
Mm-hmm.
the mental skills will help them motivate themselves to come out and play, even though they're grieving from losing their loved one. Or a student know that he's receiving a bad grade and might be kicked off the team. The motivation will help them better their grade so they can perform better on the field and continue being on the team. The goals will help each player set long-term and short-term goals that are reliable and time-oriented. So, say a player has a final, but we had practice every day that week.
Mm-hmm.
This will help the player study for their finals and then come out and play and practice with us instead of pushing away their studies and just practice.
Yes.
It will stress them out because they know they might fail this final, which would affect their performance on the team. And lastly, the people skills I feel as though is very important. It will help the athlete, and it will help the athlete deal with conflicts, difficult opponents, and negative situations. So, I used to be really shy when I was younger. So my people skills were really bad. While playing baseball in college, my sports psychologist helped me develop more people skills where I was able to talk to my coaches, talk to my teammates, talk to the other teams, which they also helped me become a better player.
That sounds great. That sounds pretty good, actually. Sorry I'm not always able to keep eye contact. I'm trying to write most of the stuff that you were saying down. But you may continue.
That's fine. Now I'm going to go to level 2.
Great.
The preparatorial skills. These skills will help the players learn self-talk and mental imagery skills. You might be confused when I say self-talk skills.
Yes, please explain that.
Well, the self-talk skills will help the player to regulate thoughts and feelings and behavior during the competition.
Okay.
So, say that you're thinking about something really, really bad that happened to you and you're up to bat next.
Yes.
That is going to affect the way you approach the at bat.
Yes, that can create some stressful situations for some of our players.
Yes, that is true. So, this self-talk skills will help the player talk themselves through the problem before they reach the plate and go out for their at bat. Now, the mental imagery skills will help the players learn a skill to use imagery during competitions to prepare themselves for actions and recover from errors and poor performances. I know every time I made an error at second base, I had bad images of us blowing the game or me being kicked off the field.
Yes, it usually happens.
So, this will help the players to recover faster in order to make a better play next time around or to make sure they are focused on the game.
The self-talk skill definitely seems to be very important during these at-bats. Bases loaded and moments where our players can lack confidence sometimes. They will need to know how to keep their head regulated and in the game so they can be better next time around. You can continue to the next step.
Alright. Level 3, of course, is the performance level, which people say is the most important level. The performance level will help the players learn skills to manage their anxiety, emotions, and to learn more concentration. Like I said previously, concentration and emotions comes with the game of baseball.
Yes.
So, in order to learn how to reduce anxiety, my mental training will help the students learn how to stop their anxiety from bothering them during competition.
Mm-hmm.
So, they will have some countdowns, like counting sheep when you're trying to fall asleep. So, they will have some type of anxiety, like chewing gum, eating sunflower seeds, will help. I will also help the players learn and be able to control their emotions towards the game and help improve their performance.
How will you do that?
I will do that by making sure the players make sure the players can regulate their emotions. So if they were just broken up with or if a loved one passed away, I will have skills in order for them to control their emotions in order to play and perform well with the team. The players will also learn concentration skills, especially in critical situations. So, like the example I keep bringing up, bases loaded, 2 outs is one of the most critical parts of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The player will be able to make sure he can concentrate and not just swing at every pitch. I will teach them skills in order to make sure they have great pitch selection and also make sure, and it also ties them into emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they're not too excited when they're up to bat and make sure they make contact with the ball.
Okay. The concentration skill is also very important when playing the game of baseball. Like Yogi Berra said, baseball is only 90% mental and the rest is physical. Now, give me a few key ways for effective consulting. What I mean is, how would you get entry with the players, and how would you deliver skills to them?
That is a great question. When gaining entry, in my perspective, is a key step. I was told during my studies that a great psychologist should know a lot about the sport they want to get into.
Yes.
So, for example, I play baseball, so I know about the game and I know what skills to learn in order to play the game well. Also, many sports psychologists should know that there is a big difference. When you're dealing with a physical sport or contact sport,
Yes.
or non-physical, non-contact sport. You need to approach each sport differently.
Yeah.
Well, since I have played the sport and I have worked with it previously, I know that my mental skills will work. So I believe that I have already gained entry. So now I just have to worry about my delivery. I always think about how I'm going to deliver my skills to the players and how are they going to take it and how are they going to enjoy it, or how I'm going to make it enjoyable for them to make sure they still perform really well.
That's very important.
So I've developed many skills as the level 3 paramedic that I described previously.
Yeah.
That will help many of the players better their performance in critical situations. Like, of course, back to this example, the base is loaded 2 outs, or when they're in a slump at the plate. It will help calm down the infielders that cannot turn double plays or let the ball go under their legs. I will have mental skills for pitchers to make sure they calm down when the umpire calls a ball when it was a strike and that pitch could have struck out the batter.
Yes.
Or when they give up a homer and start losing the game. I would also make sure I evaluate my performance and the team performance to make sure that we all stay up to date and perform well. Because if I'm not sharp, then how can I make the team sharp?
Wow, that sounds very impressive. Give me a few minutes while I finish jogging this down.
Okay.
Well, from what I learned today, you seem like you make a fine candidate for a team. We gain a lot of practice and philosophy and mental skills seems to be very effective. I have high hopes that you might be working for us in the near future. Do you have any questions at this point since I'm out of them?
Yes. When would I hear about the position?
You will be hearing from us maybe in a week or two. I have a couple more people that I would like to interview, and then we'll make a call.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.